Hello and welcome back to Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin. It's been since August since we've had an Upstyle class, and I've missed this class. I've been on vacation and I've had family in town and I've had 2 litters of puppies and worked on a women's retreat for church. So I've been busy. But I am now back in the stamp room, crafting and creating and getting my fingers all inked up and sticky to create different paper projects. So, Kathleen, hello and welcome. Since we have somebody on, Kathleen is here, I'm going to officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to Upstyle Your Paper Pumpkin. It's good to be here with you. My name's Elizabeth Price. This is Seeing Ink Spots. This is my Facebook page. Did you know I have a private Seeing Ink Spots group called the Backstage Pass? And it's there that I have a class every Thursday of the month. So not just one Upstyle, I have a bunch more, and I'll tell you more about those. And anybody can join that. Once you join, you're in. So it's kind of fun. Good morning, Kathleen. Thank you for that comment. And a little sunshine, that's cute. All right, I am gonna flip my screen and we are going to begin with a little bit of business here. And then I have something a little different than normal. We are gonna upstyle September's with love and gratitude. But I'm also gonna go back and I have one little project that I thought I would share with you using the Meaningful Flowers Paper Pumpkin Kit from August. I did get one created and yeah, so you're gonna see how to make that one because it's really quite pretty. All right, Lori, hello, Lori. Glad to have you here as well. Good morning, good morning. Oh, there are 6 here. I'm not sure all who is here. So, say hello. Tell me where you're from so that we can have a fun little bit of Stampin' action this morning. I was trying to look at the clock. It's 10 o'clock, right? So we'll be here for the next hour and a half, maybe a little longer, creating some projects. Okay, so here comes the hand. We're going to do that obnoxious shift so you can see my workspace here, what we're doing. And have a little bit of, there we go. Let me do a little arranging here with my stand. I didn't know if we were going to be in landscape or not, but I found a trick to getting it into landscape again like it used to be. Facebook's button isn't working, but I found a little tip online. Mary from Western Washington. Awesome. So I was in Western Washington, drove through from Boise to Seattle in the summer because we left Seattle for an Alaska cruise, and boy, there are some beautiful parts of Washington. Ooh, so pretty. So pretty. Okay, today we are here for the With Love and Gratitude kit. So that's what we're working on today. Plus I said we're going to go back and pick up one project from last month. Well, from August's kit. Should have been last month's class, but we never had it. I tried. It just wasn't going to happen. Like, it's just kind of, it wasn't in the cards, so to say. But ching. Okay, so let me tell you, tomorrow night is game night for my Paper Florist Stamp Camp. And while kits are all sold out, there is still time to join this if you would like the PDF version. And so we start tomorrow night with game night. And then the 12th through the 14th, we have some hardcore, serious stamping. And these are artfully avid projects. If you like to stamp in that style, that's what we're doing. Like I say, the PDF version, I think it's $37. And I can put a link, or if you put a comment in here, I can easily shoot you the link to register for that. So there is still time to join us for the PDF version, but to join in all the classes. And it's not just 4 stamp classes. There are also 4 stamp presentations. There's a virtual swap and share. It would get you access to the Backstage group, the Facebook group that is private. It's only for those attendees. And last night we had a fun garage sale. So there's still time to get in on that. There's all kinds of fun happening. There's challenges and all kinds of things. Hello, Marsha. Marsha was there last night. It was great to have her. Okay. So there is still time for the PDF version. Coming up after the Studio Ink Spots, my pickup class is returning. And I'm going to return with a pickup class on the Rustic Crate Bundle. This class is in the Backstage Pass. Anybody in the group can watch. This is what I call a bring your own supplies. So that's what the BYOS is. I'll put up a list of what I'm using, and that will be on October 19th. So that will be a fun Thursday morning to do a little bit of work with that Rustic Crate. Then in the end of October, this should not say pickup. This should say technique time. Technique time. So I'll fix this and I'll post it. But technique time is 10:26. I did this really fast right before I jumped on this morning. So it'll be technique time, and you can get technique time. You can earn it free with a $50 purchase on my current stamp code, host code. So, you can do it that way, or you can purchase the kit. This is a class that will be, it will be Artfully Avid style cards, and it will be fun. So these would be the cards that you would send to like your most favorite friend, your mom and dad, those types of people. Hey, Jeannie Price is watching. Jeannie Price is my sister-in-law. Hello, Jeannie. So anyways, so that class is the end of October. And then in November, we will upstyle our paper pumpkin from October, and that will be the Home from the Holidays kit. I love that in this kit, we're getting a little bottle of, we used to call it Dazzling Details, not glitter, but the kind with the glue in it. I can't remember what it's called. I've got 2 bottles of it, from way back when, still sitting on my desk. But hello, Brittany. Awesome to have you here. But anyhow, I'm excited about that. Stickles. That's the name of it. It was Stickles. And use it up in November. I am going to feature the Abundant Beauty masks. Okay. And I'm going to pair that with the Layering Leaves bundle here. Well, it's not a bundle, but they match. So the Bow Punch and the Layering Leaves stamp set. So that's what's coming up, folks. There are lots of classes, and I'm happy to have any of you join along. And anybody if you'd like to join along in my stamp camp that starts tomorrow night officially, let me know, and I can help you do that. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that since I didn't do the Meaningful Flowers paper pumpkin upstyle, boy, did I have a lot of people saying, are you going to do it? And so many people, it's people I didn't even know. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So I will teach you. I shared this card on my blog, and it's kind of a fun fold using elements from the kit. So we'll start with this one. It's really actually quite simple. So let's take a look at that, of what I've done to put that one together. Here's what you're going to need for that one. I started with a half a sheet of Balmy Blue. I had to think what color this was. This is Balmy Blue cardstock. It is 8.5 by 5.5, and I have scored it at 4 1/4. All right. So I'm just going to give that a fold on the score line there. Burnish that fold with my bone folder. So that was simple enough. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, let me see, one of the card bases here. And so this is the card base I'm going to use. Kind of fun, kind of cool. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to give this a quick cut with our paper trimmer here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the card up and I'm going to put this part of the straight edge right at 1/4 inch. Okay, and I'm going to take that and I'm just going to cut that apart. Now I'll save this because this could easily layer onto the front of another card. and be nice and beautiful. But it's this section of the card that I wanted. Now I'm going to take my paper snips and just give a little clip just like that. Now I've created a tab that I can use to add into my card here, into my card base. And so I'm going to take this tab and let's give it a good burnish. And we'll add some glue. And let's see, I know I'm going to have to unclog my glue. I always have to. I do this several times a day, and I know you guys see this, and you're like, stop it with the glue. But I have to get the little boogers out of there. And I'm going to add just some glue right here to this edge. Okay. Simple, simple. And now I'm going to take my card base. I'm going to open this up just a little bit. And this is going to sit. So here's my card. It's a top fold. This is going to sit right on that edge. And when you put this on here, I'm using green cap glue, AKA the liquid glue, so that I can kind of move this around just a little bit, because you do have to open it up a little bit so that you know that your card will kind of come around, that this layer will fold around and it won't buckle. Okay? So once you have that, whoops, it moved too much. Good thing for that liquid glue. Gives you a few minutes to kind of move things around. But once you have that on, just kind of give that a good burnish. Okay. And then you're going to need a 1/4 sheet of basic white, and that will be our lining for the inside of the card. And at the same time, cover our mechanics here, because we definitely don't want that, right? So that's going to layer right inside like so. But we're going to do some stamping with this first before we actually glue that in there. Let me just bring in a piece of scratch paper, and I'm using the Forget Me Not image that was from the Meaningful Flowers kit, and I'm using the color in that kit was Pretty Peacock. I'm going to use some this is Balmy Blue. And I'm going to take this image here, and I'm just going to simply add a little bit right here to the corner. And then we'll just kind of overlap that just a little bit like that. So we're bringing a little bit of that decor to the inside of our card. And I'm going to close this for now. So this is the inside. I have a tendency to do this, folks. I work from the inside out. I don't know why. But I have several different watercolor pencils here, and I have some blender pens. Now I don't use these very often, but I did pull them out for this. And so I'm going to take my watercolor pencil and just do a little bit of green right down in here in the stems. And I'm trying to imitate the kind of the look and the colors of the card base here. And when I'm using the watercolor pencils, I'm trying to just add a layer of color to the paper. I'm not trying to like push down really hard. I don't want to gouge the paper or make a divot, a dent with the pencil, because I want that color on top so that I can more easily blend it. Okay, so I have a little bit of leaf there and some leaf here that I'm just adding some of that. And then we'll add a little bit of yellow into the centers, and I'm going to go over and beyond the center here, just so that yellow really does stand out. Okay, we'll get this one. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit of green right in here to the collar of the flower itself. Okay, and there, and then we'll add the blue. And I am not filling this in. I'm not doing fancy shading. I'm just doing a little bit of, just kind of having some fun with it. Just kind of quickly adding some color. All right, and I've missed a spot green rise. There's a little bit of green there. And right there. Okay. Then once I have this all colored in, or I've layered just a little bit of color here and there, I'm going to come in with my blender pen and just kind of blend all this color So it's not just scribbly looking, it's more, it'll have a softer look. And I'll start with the lightest color first. Hello, we need to get all the blue in there. I'll start with the lightest color first. So I'm gonna blend the yellow here, just a little bit. You could also use a water painter for this, but this is so small and delicate that I kind of liked the idea of using the blender pen. Now I'm just kind of scribbling back and forth to clean the tip. And I'm going to come in and soften the green. And it does blend it, and it looks just, you know, a little bit softer. It looks a little bit more finished. Okay. And I love the control you have with the tips of these blender pens. Okay, we'll get a little bit there. All right there. Okay, now I'm gonna just kind of swoosh that back and forth, and we'll do the blue, and we'll just kind of pull that out a little bit, and it just finishes it off. Makes it kind of pretty. And this is a nice touch to the inside of a card, I think. On my original, I went all the way across, but I thought, you know, it just doesn't need all that. That's what's fun about making a card a second time. You can make a few little edits, adjustments to make it be exactly what you want. Okay, speaking of exactly what you want, if you want to define things a little bit more, you can take your blender pen, pick up a little bit of the color from your watercolor pencil, and I don't know if you can see what I just did, but see, I just added just a touch more definition right in there. So again, take that blender pen and maybe just right where Stampin' Up! Has drawn some detail lines, just enhance those with a little bit more of your color there. So I don't use my colored pencils very often, but when I do, I like them. I enjoy it. And so if I've done it to some, I'm going to do it to all, right? Just kind of give things a consistent look. And this will be the last one. Okay, there you have it. That inside is ready. I'm going to return these to the box. I do recommend storing these flat because you have tips on both ends. And so you want to keep both ends of those blender pens, you know, so that there's fluid going to both ends. Okay, so now that I have the inside of my card here, I can glue this. And now I have a nice white space. I mean, I feel like you can write on the blue, that's okay. But this gives this just a little bit more of a finished look because we're covering up that tab there. And at the same time, it gives the card a little bit more, because sometimes, you know, we put so much stuff on the front and attention to the front that the front gets heavy and the back is a little bit less thick, if you know what I mean. So this way, it just gives a little visual weight and physical weight to the back. So there's the inside. There's the front, and then here's the front, right? So now what we need to do is just finish this up. We'll add some of these other elements here. Okay, so I hope I have the stamp with me. Oh man, I don't have that stamp with me. Well, we'll just have to fake it. You'll see that one right there. So I do have the tag though. So here's a tag. This is just a tailor-made tag cut from Basic White. Okay, and this is the largest one, I believe. Is this the largest one? I think it is. I need to see the rest to know. Hello, Cynthia, she is watching, and Barbara, thanks for being here. So I'm going to take my Balmy Blue pad again, and we're actually going to turn this. So there's the inside that we're working on. We're working on the tag right now. And I'm going to turn that, and I'm going to take the floral image, and we're going to do the same thing we did to the corner. And that is, we'll just kind of add a lot of floral right here to one side. Okay, there's one. And then I'm going to stamp it again, kind of lacing things. And I'm okay if it overlaps a little bit because my flower die cut is going to cover that. So I can kind of fill in this space, overlapping just a little. And then we'll give one more fun punch of color right there. All right. And I am missing the greeting. It is in the other room because this one's going to go on the front. It says you're unforgettable, but that would go. And what I did is I stamped the "You are capable of amazing things." I can't believe I left that in the other room. What a bummer. But I stamped that with Pretty Peacock. And so the kit came with a Pretty Peacock spot, so you could use that or you could use the full-size pad. I like the full-size pad, so we should stamp that there, but there's always something when you go live, right, that goes a little bit awry. And we're going to just add some dimensionals to this. And I'm going to add my dimensionals, okay? And this one way up here, I'm actually going to do 2 layers because if you see on my original here, 1 layer is on the tag and then this is hanging over the tag. So it's going to need a second one right there. And I'll probably need to balance that spot as well. So I think I'm just going to take 1 dimensional and chop it in half. I could use minis, but this is what's on hand right now. This is what I grabbed. And so we'll just peel that, and then I often will refer to this as Big Macking. It's your 2 all beef patties, right? Okay, so this is ready. Let's get our inside layer here ready. And that is going to come from one of the envelopes. So here are the envelopes. These are nice and pretty. Let me show you how I like to break down the envelopes when I cut them apart to make Designer Series envelope paper. I like to just come in here and we'll flip this over. And I'm going to put my envelope right on the edge there and just a teeny bit overlap there so I can take that side off. And I'll just use my envelope to get that out of the groove there. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. Then this allows me to open it up and create the piece of paper that I'm looking for, okay? So, and I feel like I have maximum use here. So I'm gonna cut right along the score line here because I need a piece that is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches wide. Keep that, that would make a great layer of something in a card. So I said I want to be 4 1/4, so I'm just gonna turn this edge so that I have 4 1/4. And actually I'm gonna kind of come to here because I'm gonna take as much of the flowers as I can. So I was just under that score line. I'll save that, maybe use it for something else. Now I'll trim off some of this green. Now I need to make it 5 1/2 inches wide. So we'll just take that and just remove some of that. So along that 5 1/2 inch, and we'll just slice that off. And now this is the piece that I added to the front of this card here. So we'll give that a little glue action. Look how cute that is right there. That would make a fun element on a card. Or just use the envelopes as they are. Okay. So there you have it. There's the inside. Now we'll take the tag, add some dimensionals to the tag. And I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3. Okay. Like so. And we're going to add this. And it's going to come kind of right over here. And I'm going to give myself an even border on my right and on the bottom. And now we can take our die cut image here. Now the placement on this, I'm going to close my front flap so that I place it just right. In other words, I kind of want to get some show out of my die cut here. So that's where this is going to go. Okay, that lays nicely. Pretend that we stamped the greeting in there, or you can leave it without. And also from the kit, some of the linen thread, and definitely some of the, let's see, these little, these cool, clear, they're, you know, just little round gems. These are super pretty. We'll use those. And I want, here they are. I want one of the banners. So these banners came as part of the kit. So we'll use that. And we will definitely stamp that. Just kind of get rid of a few things. We're going to stamp that with Pretty Peacock. You could use the spot. I like full size. And I do have the set that Your Friendship is Unforgettable. And we'll center that. I know sometimes I like to put them on one end and overlap different things on top. But this one we're just going to do right in the center. Like so. I feel like there's a lot of things that are already not centered on this card, that having something centered is a nice kind of balance to that. So this will just lap right on there. You just need to make sure that you don't have dimensionals that are going to show on this far right side. So if I'm looking at that, I'm just going to kind of stop right about there, because we just don't want our mechanics to show, right? That wouldn't be good. So there's that. And then this is going to kind of just sit off to the left side just a little bit. I think it would help if we made it straight though. Okay, now to embellish, let's embellish with some of the jewels. And I have my take your pick tool here. I'm going to use the putty end for this. And I'm going to use a large. We'll just pick that up and just kind of set one there. And I'll take another large. We'll go here. And then let's do a small. I really like these. These are pretty. They're subtle, but cool. So I have a little kind of working triangle there. Okay. And then last, let's take, I have just a little bit of this linen thread left. We'll take that and we'll add that to our tag. And that is going to be how I made this kind of fun fold meaningful flowers card using elements from the kit and a little bit of balmy blue cardstock and a little bit of basic white cardstock and the tailor-made tags. Dies. So there you have it. Kind of fun. So we did a little bit of backtrack. This is the only thing I made with this kit. I have more work to do on it at some point in time because it is a sweet kit. I just haven't gotten it done. And of course you would need to like trim your tails, but that's good enough. So here's this one. Here's the one we just did. And then this one's just the same, but I did stamp that you are capable of amazing things. And open, and then it's just kind of a fun fold, kind of a fun approach to some things. So there you have it. There were some pretty things made with that kit. All right, now moving on, we're going to dive deep into the With Love and Gratitude. Now this kit is super pretty, and I thought I would share with you how I made my fold-up card for Stampin' Up! That they shared in their video tutorial. Video of alternatives. So these are the elements we're going to need. Let's start with just the base of the card, okay? So you're going to need 2 of the note cards, okay? And both of the note cards, we are going to score them diagonally on one side, okay? So I'm going to get my cutting blade out of the way, and I'm going to score from the score line to the opposite corner, okay? So from score line to opposite corner. There's that. Hold tight. Use your scoring blade. And there's my first diagonal score line, okay? Now we're going to do the same thing with our second one, okay? And I actually have to kind of do this and figure out, I'm going to actually fold this so that I make sure that I have it exactly right. So that's how that one's going to fold. Now we need this one to do the same thing. So this is going to come in, and so I'm going to want it, let's make sure I do it the right way. I'm going to score I think what it is you make them exactly the same and then you flip it. It's been a while since I've made it. Let's try it that way. Don't do your second one just yet until we know for sure that that's how we do it. But I'm pretty sure it is. It's just kind of confusing looking when you think about it because you have to flip them. So we did that one the exact same way as the first. Let's fold that. And yes, we were right. Woohoo! That's how that fold works. All right, let's review that real fast. You're gonna need 2 of them that are identical. That's the first thing you're gonna do. So on 2 note cards, score from the top, middle to the bottom opposite corner. Then with one of them, we're gonna do some cuts. And this is where, I think I've said this before, but can you see the play that this has in it? You just wanna make sure that you're either all the way up or all the way down on each of these cuts that you're going to do. So I'm just gonna make sure that this is pressed down each time. And on the right side, the bottom, and the score line, we are going to make 3 slices. You're gonna do 1, 2, 3. We're gonna place this edge, my right edge, at the 1/2 inch mark. I'm gonna take the play out of my trimmer here. In other words, I have it all the way down, okay? I'm going to take my blade here and put it at 1/2 inch, making sure there's no play in here. So we'll put it at 1/2 inch, and I'm gonna go down slow until I hit 3 inches, okay? So I'm stopping right there at the 3 inch mark. And so what I'm doing is I'm lining up these 2 lines that are on the side there. So I'm lining that up at 3 inches. Now you're gonna pick it up, we're gonna rotate, and we're gonna do the exact same thing. We'll start at 1/2 inch and stop at 3 inch, but each time making sure that we've removed any of that little wiggle room out of our trimmer here. So we'll start at 1/2 inch, go slow, and stop at 3. Pick it up, rotate it. Now this time you're gonna put that score line at that 1/2 inch mark, right? Or if you're looking on this other side, you can put it at 3 inches. So put this edge at 3 or the score line, either one. So we'll put that at 3. Hello, Jacqueline. Take the wiggle play out of your, let me move this up. We're gonna start it at 1/2 inch. But what's important is that you take that little wiggle out of your cutter there. And you're gonna stop it at 3 inches, like so, okay? Now we're gonna rotate one more time here, and I'll move this up so you can see it. So I have my right edge on that 1/2 inch mark, and I'm gonna take a stylus this time because I can see better with my stylus, and I am going to score from that cut line to the other cut line, okay? And just using my stylus right in my paper trimmer. So hopefully you saw that. It's a good tip. Hello, Pauline. So that is how this works. And then this will fold open. And that is how I did that. Then you're gonna take this one here. So these were the same. We're gonna rotate it 180 degrees and we're gonna glue like that. All right, so let's do just that. Actually, let's get some good burnish marks. Some good burnishing going on all these score lines so that everything ends up crisp and tidy. So we'll take this one. We'll work this. Let's do this one as well. And this one too. Very good. Okay, this one, I don't want it to be too, I think it's fine just the way it is. Thanks, Pauline. She says, hello. Okay, now, so let me just kind of go back really fast. These were the 2 that we scored. 1 got cut. Then you're going to take this and rotate it. And then you're going to line up your 2 centers. So we're going to put glue just on this outer frame section. Just like that. And now we'll set that on top of this section here, on the center section. Again, I like to use that liquid glue so that I have time to kind of wiggle things around. and I'll fold this and I'll fold this, and look, ooh, that's a nice clean look there. Okay, so I can come in, kind of burnish my adhesive here. All right, so now we have some layers, and I'm going to start by adding a layer. This is a 3 3/8 inch square of basic white. So if I close my card like so, this one here is going to glue onto this bottom layer here so that when we open the card, it will do that. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at my notes here. So that's 3 3/8 basic white. Then we need a layer, and I took a layer from, I broke one of these down like I would an envelope so that I could cut it up and have some things that I could cut and use for some different layers. So let's break this down. I'm going to just simply, let's see, I think I'm going to do it from the bottom here. So I have a straight edge, and I'm just going to do, just like I showed you on that last envelope, I'm just breaking that down just a little bit so that I can, and I might have done such a little bit that I can't even open it. Yep, but I can kind of give it, nope, I'm going to need to put it back on there, give it a cut. There we go. Okay. That way I could get in there, open this up, and now I have all of this pretty linen looking type of paper. So I need to cut myself a square. And so if this is 3 3/8, what I want this square to be is 3 1/8. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean up my edge here that's kind of goofy looking because I didn't do a very good job cutting it apart. That's okay. There's that. And then we'll come in and we'll get 3 1/8 because this one's 3 3/8. But I'm not going to cut all the way across because that's going to be kind of wasteful. But I'm just going to kind of come up into here. That was a little past 3 1/8, but that's okay. And for now, I'm just going to kind of cut that out so that this is a little easier to maneuver. And now let's get our nice clean 3 1/8 inch. Oh, that wasn't good. Saw that? You know why that happened? I went too fast and my blade is dull. All right, that's a bummer. That's a real bummer. There's that 3 1/8 and 3 1/8. Let's see. I think I can hide it. I think I can hide it. So see that funny little tear? I'll hide it with one of our die cuts, but this is going to layer onto this piece here, like so. But before we layer that, we're actually going to do a little stamping on it. So I'm going to use Lost Lagoon. Here's the spot, or you can use full-size pad. I'm going to use the full-size pad just because it's a little bit quicker. And here's my scratch paper from earlier. We're going to stamp the large, beautiful, this is so pretty. Such a pretty, pretty stamp. We're going to use this image here. I need to give it a quick clean because I've been using other colors on it. Repeat cutting of flap dimensions. Yes. Okay. So we will time out. We'll come back and stamp that. The cutting dimensions on this, Marcia, before I glued it together, my edge was at 1/2 inch. So I have a 1/2 inch border on 3 sides, okay, and that are cut, and a 1/2 inch border across the top that is scored. Hopefully that answered your question, Marcia. If not, let me know and we can go back. Okay, so stamping this, I'm going to ink up with Lost Lagoon. I am, when I ink up my images on Stampin' Up! Ink pads, I let the weight of the block touch the pad. I do not push in at all, just touch, and I do a little twist tap action just to ink that up. The other thing I like to do is, I mean, this is pretty as a nice solid stamped image, but I just like to let the weight of the block stamp it off a little bit. And you can see that it didn't stamp off everything, right? that it's left some color. So I'm going to have some full strength and some not so full strength. I like that look. So I am going to do that on my image here. I'm trying to remember how I did this. Doesn't really matter. We're just adding some decor to the background of this. And so when you stamp that, I really, really like that two-tone effect. I call it kind of a mottled effect. All right. So there's that. And we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to kind of stamp down in here. And yes, we might be overlapping on some of our images here, but all of the stuff we're going to add on top, it's not going to show. We just kind of want some show around the edges. So again, ink up, tap, tap. Let the weight of the block take some of the ink. Okay, so it took a lot more that time. That's okay. Call it art. And we'll add this one right here on this side. Okay, you might want to stamp this on a piercing mat, but there's my background paper. I think it's kind of pretty. And yeah, we've got some overlap there, but that's going to go away. It's not going to show. What you want is some cool looks on the peeking on the corners there. Okay, we'll take that layer and we're going to glue it to our white. Okay. Glue this to the white. And we'll just classic layer, so you're just matting with, you know, an 1/8 inch border all the way around. It is soft and pretty. I think so too. Thank you. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to use some of the die cuts from the kit. We'll use the pumpkin and the leaves. And now I want you to see the leaves here. I've already done a little bit of fussy cutting, some prepping. And because what I wanted was, I wanted the leaf, originally what I wanted was the leaf to kind of be separate so I could kind of tuck a pumpkin under there. But I ended up just cutting them entirely apart. So I've already cut off all the white all the way around. And then on this one, I've completely separated it so that I had 2 leaves and I could have, you know, a little bit more play in where I was putting things. I had a few more options. So what I did, my first intention was just to kind of cut a slit up through here. And to be able to go, okay, well, I kind of want to slip my pumpkin in here, you know, and I couldn't get it to look right, so I just cut the whole thing apart. So I'm coming around here and just taking these apart. I highly recommend, I do this quite a bit, and that is to cut apart my die cuts. I don't keep them the way they were originally intended, just because I think it's kind of fun to have some options. I'm also using a couple pumpkins and one of the leaf dies here, this pretty one. And these are the gold leaves. And on this project, I actually liked them flipped upside down. I like the white side of these. I think that that's really pretty. So I also need, we're going to do a little bit more stamping here. We're going to grab one of the double-ended banners and one of the single-ended banners here. Okay, so this one will be for the front. We're going to put thank you on this one. So here's my thank you image. And so for this, I'm using, I used just everything for this card that I made. Well, that spot doesn't open because I haven't opened that one. I have 2 kits. We'll just use the regular pad. So everything for this card came from the kit. I did not add any other product. So here's the word thank you. I'm just gently inking up. And this is going to set right centered in there. Thank you. Don't push too hard. You'll get a better look. Then on this one here, we're going to stamp the with love and gratitude. So that's on this side of the block. Oh, can you hear my dogs in the backyard crying? Let me in. Okay, with love and gratitude right in the center there. Cool. Now, if you overpress, that's when your images start to get kind of blotchy and funky looking. So we'll set this aside for right now. We'll come back to that in just a second. But now I have my pieces. So I'm going to take this one here and we're going to start to add our elements here. So let's start with the thank you. And I'm going to put this on. Let me see. I have a sheet of minis here. I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. And we'll just add several here, like so. We'll throw this on. This and the orange pumpkin are what I call my anchor elements. And so I kind of like to put those down first, and then I can kind of add things here and there. So this is going to come off the edge just a little bit, kind of hang over. I like kind of, going beyond the edges. Sometimes when you put it inside, it looks kind of stifled. And so this just allows a little bit of breathing room action, if you know what I mean. Okay, so with this giant, gorgeous pumpkin, we'll just add this to our base. Okay. And once I add this, then I can tuck my other elements in and around it. And so that's what I mean by a focal element. And so this is going to overlap this corner. And what I like to do, see how the pumpkin has the little, the natural kind of divot right there? That divot is going to come up and hug the T in the word thank you. All right, I kind of like to do that, kind of frame things out. So there's that. Now we'll add one of the gray pumpkins here. And I did not do anything to these pumpkins. Sometimes it's fun to add a little watercolor pencil to them and make them a little bit more customized, but I didn't. And so I've got this one kind of right in, and it's up in this area right there, like that. Okay, and then we have one of our leaves here, and that's going to, of course, I have my dimensionals in there. I haven't pushed things down, but if I kind of lift up, I can kind of reach that in there and tuck that in just like that. And now I've used my dimensional to hold things in place. Now let's do a couple of these leaves. And so this leaf here, I'm going to put it on with a dimensional as well. We'll just do one, that's plenty. Sometimes it's fun to kind of take these and give them just a little bit of curl with your fingers. And this is going to just tuck right in there like that. And then this one is fun. Okay, I did something on this that I forgot to do here. And I don't have my, let me just take this off for just a second. I don't have my, my hobby blade here. I usually have one in my mug. But what I did is I used my hobby blade, the new blade that you can put on your take your pick tool, and I actually had a little bit of a cut. I don't know if I can do this without lifting it off, but I did a tiny little slice right along the stem of this pumpkin so that I could kind of, let me see if I can get that in there. See, I have a little slit in there. That way I could make my leaf in there look a little bit more natural, like it's going around the stem. Okay? And so we'll put that on with a dimensional as well to hold it in place. And that's kind of why I like to separate things, is so that I can give things a more customized look and make, just kind of make my own thing. So, and I actually wiggled it a little further down and on. I totally forgot about it until just right now, but there you are, going live here. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I did. Then for this, here's a large one. I'm just gonna kind of cut this apart and use some of these sections here and there. So I'm just gonna chop this one off. And we'll tuck this one right down in here. And look, there, my funky corner that I didn't get right is gonna be just fine. I'm actually going to trim some of that off. We'll put a dimensional on this, on the gold side. And then we'll just tuck this right in there like so. And then I had a little bit more over here, so I'm just going to kind of pick one of these. I'll take this side right here. I have a puppy outside crying. She wants to come in. And this one goes right in here, just to fill that out. Okay, so that is the front layer. And so here's what's a little bit tricky is you think that that's going to go on like that. Okay, it's just as you open this, you want it to end up this direction. Okay, because it doesn't matter when it's shut. So let me go over that again. That's the way we're actually going to glue it. So open your card, and you want this to read across like so. Because if I had shut this like this and glued it on so that this was on the bottom, when it opens, it would have been sideways. Okay, so something to think about. So actually open the whole thing up and go, that's how I want it to look when it's open. This is the corner I'm going to glue. Excuse me, frog in the throat. So let's take and add some glue to this corner only. And then we'll kind of hold this down and we'll center this right on this first panel. Okay? So when it is shut, it is still at the bottom, but notice that it's turned. But when you grab these and open, it will be right there. Okay, so just something to think about as you're doing it. You don't want it turned, 90 degrees. It just looks better this way. Okay, with love and gratitude, that's going to come across the center here. And then we're going to use this piece here. Although I did do some cutting apart of this piece. And so what I did is I just kind of came in here and cut these apart right in through here. Okay. And I can't remember exactly what I did, but we'll just kind of come down this way. And so now, let me clean this side up just a little bit, and we'll tuck this inside. And so this piece is going to kind of come down off the bottom here, like so. Okay, and we have a leaf right in there. And then this piece is going to, I think what I'm going to do, just kind of cut that one apart. And this one's going to come in here. And we're just going to create a grouping. And I have this leaf if I need to add more. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that one off. Okay, you can use that in another layer somewhere. Okay, so we have that piece, and then if I need some more, I can tuck that in like that. And again, I'm going to add in a little bit more of this fun white. And so for this one, let's see, we'll just add this arm of this. We'll bring this in here, like so. And maybe this leaf here, I tuck that in. I know it looks like a mess, but I've got a plan. So I'm going to start with my love and gratitude here first. Kind of do 4 across this. It's a little wider. Oops, got an extra. Okay. And before I pull the dimensionals off, I'm going to kind of lay my pieces out the way I want them. So I'm going to do this one here. Let me put a dimensional on this. I'll put 2. And it's going to kind of come in here. So I'm just going to set this one right on here. I know this is going to come across. Okay. And then this one here is going to go across the bottom. I'm going to do these 2 that are kind of like diagonally across the bottom here. And then I'll fill in the sides. I'll build it out. Okay, get rid of that. So this is going to come across here, and again, this will kind of hide some of my mechanics right in there. Okay, now I feel, okay, I've got those in place and I can put these in. I might end up having colliding dimensionals here, but I can fix that. Okay, there's that, looks great. And I did want to add just a little bit of the white in here. I'm going to take this down just a little bit. I don't need it quite so big. It's a pretty small little 3 by 3, 3.5 by 3.5. It's not a huge area. There's that. And I think I'm going to add just a little bit more there. So I'll add the top of this one.
She's going to kill right here. And these guys are going back outside. Come on.
Can you put the kennel on the floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go, go, go.
Okay. There's that. There's that layer there. And then we have a layer over here on this side, and that's going to be with our leftover pieces here. And I have one more pumpkin that we're going to use. So one of the gray pumpkins. So again, this is going to be my anchor piece. So I'll put this on first, and then I'll add my leaves and things behind it. Okay. And what I want to do is, and I know this sounds silly, but it's a tip that I kind of look at. So this pumpkin here, we're repeating this pumpkin. This pumpkin, the stem is kind of facing that way. I'm going to make sure that this one is facing a completely different direction. Okay? I just don't want things, I mean, things don't grow exactly the same. So that's my thought there. Oh, good. This little puppy's going to cry. Hold on. Let me move her. Okay. There you go, puppy girl. We have she's about 2 months old here. Little puppy. She's cute. She's all white. Bright black eyes. She's really cute. Okay. So this one is going to slip under in here. Now, just making sure that you don't adhere anything. It can hang over, but you don't want it to adhere to this side of the triangle because you need to be able to fold, right? And I said triangle, meaning the diagonal fold. I'll give a little curl to these leaves with my fingernails. And we'll tuck this one right in here. And then we'll do one more spray of the white. And so I don't like that. So I'm going to kind of have to finish some of this off. So I'll just trim that. You know, just become a landscaper here. And trim your pieces, make them look good. Okay. And I'm going to chop that off so I can tuck this under. And again, we're having the white side show. And so this will just sneak in there like that. And so when this closes, whoops, you just have to be careful when you put it in your little envelope or however you're going to close it. But there you have it. And then it opens like so. There is one last detail, and that is right here. And so this opening measures 2.5. So from our linen paper that we cut from the envelope, we're going to cut a 2 1/4 inch square from this piece here. And it looks like I might have to bust into this section. And so to do that, we'll just kind of cut in here. Well, let me see. How wide is that? Oh, it's just not quite wide enough. That's a bummer because that would have been nice to use it there. Okay, so we'll take it from here. But I save all of these pieces because these make great little, you know, for greetings and things. You can use those. Once I'm finished with the kit though, I toss them. I don't save all those pieces forever. Just while I'm kind of creating things, and then it goes away. Okay, so I need a 2 1/4 inch square. So there's 2 1/4, and now we'll rotate this for 2 1/4. And this is going to layer inside that window, but I do want to stamp it with the, so we have thank you with love and gratitude, and then we'll put grateful for you, and I'm going to stamp that in Lost Lagoon because we're using just items from the kit. Okay. And I'm going to stamp this kind of off to the side just because that's more me. You want to center it, you center it. And it's going to layer right in this opening here. And it leaves you a teeny tiny spot to sign it. To me, this is the kind of card that you would add to, you know, if you were dropping off a fun little blooming plant, like, you know, a white kalanchoe or something at somebody's house. Hey, Vita. Good to see you. So there you have it. And that finishes up this fun fold thank you note using the with love and gratitude. So there you have it, folks. Now, these are the leftover bits and pieces from what I just did. This I would probably toss because it doesn't have a good end. But you know what? That's a good looking leaf. And I can still kind of tuck that in somewhere. So I'll keep those until I'm finished with the, till, I have no more cards I can make with the kit, then I toss. I don't keep everything forever. That's craziness. All right. So moving right along, I want to do just some good old stamping because this image is so gorgeous. And so, but maybe I'm not going to do it because I don't have my blending brushes. Well, that was kind of dumb. I'm looking at what I have on hand here. All I have is a wink of Stella. Oh, shoot. Maybe we won't do this card. I knew I needed to go get my blending brushes, and then I went and forgot to get them. Because you need your blending brushes, or you need like a, sponge daubers or a sponge or something so that you can apply ink. So let's try a new technique here. I'm going to go on the fly here because I do want to try this. I'm going to try adding, I'm going to just grab a baby wipe. I'm using what's on hand here, okay? I am going to use Lost Lagoon. I'm also going to use a little Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to use a little bit of Copper Clay. Let's grab the right, I still don't have the right pad. Copper Clay. So, Lost Lagoon, Copper Clay, Mossy Meadow, and blending brushes. It's so much easier with blending brushes. We're going to try it. We may crash and burn here, folks. All right, but that's okay. So, here is, I'm inking up in Lost Lagoon. And this is where I would like to have some blending brushes. So, I don't even know. I might have to, let's see here. We're making an ink pad. So, I'm going to tap the copper in a few areas here, especially near those, especially near the berries. I'm going to try another pad wipe here, and I'm going to dab into Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to pounce this just kind of right in and near the stem, and then in a few places here and there. We'll give a huff on this. And this may be really ugly, folks, since I don't have a real blending brush. I just got ink all over it, so we'll turn it over. Okay, there is one image there. Oh, it kind of works. It'd be easier with blending brushes because then you wouldn't be getting it all over your fingers. But I love the effect of having the different colors on one stamped image. So let's keep doing that, and we'll fill in our background here. So I do want to clean my image before I go back into my Lost Lagoon ink because I don't want it to be, I don't want to put different colors where it shouldn't be. So here's Lost Lagoon. I've inked that up. Then we'll come back in with some of that Copper Clay. We'll just kind of pounce that here and there. Ooh, or a lot of it there and there. And some of the Mossy Meadow. And just kind of pat. And now we'll do another one. I stamped my card backwards from what I was planning. Oh well, c'est la guerre. And I'm getting ink everywhere. Okay, so we'll put this one kind of right in here to hide the smudge that I just did. Okay, and let's do one more kind of up in here. And I really do have my card going backwards from what I was planning, but this is driving me nuts, folks. I gotta get this out of here. I'm gonna get it out with my, I don't wanna touch it with my fingers because it's gonna get on everything, if you know what I mean. Okay, it's off, it's gone. Clean your image. And let's go back into Lost Lagoon and do it one more time. We'll add some Mossy Meadow. Kind of getting a new spot here. Let's really get that leaf and add just some taps of it here and there. And now let's add some copper clay, which is over here. Just creating a pretty, pretty image. We'll do this one kind of right down in there. Just like so. Just creating a soft, pretty background. Now, if you want, you could huff on that image and kind of fill in some of this space. Okay? And I could do that again. So let me do just that. Let's kind of ink this up with our colors here. But I'm going to stamp this off on some scratch paper so that we can kind of fill in some of this space in here. And I'm going to come in from off of the page. Okay. So just creating a real pretty but simple, we're not going to have a lot of fussy layers. It's just going to be this. And we're going to grab one of the banners here. Okay, and we're gonna grab some linen thread. So that's not part of the kit, but let's grab some linen thread. And this is just gonna be a sweet, simple thank you note. So I'm gonna take the word thank you, and you could ink this up in any of the colors. I'm gonna choose the Mossy Meadow because to me it's the darkest of the three. We're gonna put that smack dab in the middle, like so. We're going to take our linen thread here and we'll do just a big, nice loopy bow. Nothing fancy, but it will help bulk this label up a little bit without adding like another die cut or, big leaves. We could actually take one of the gold leaves. We could look at that. Okay, so I'm just working my bow here. Grab the ends to even this up. Okay. And let me just kind of move these out of the way before we have an issue. Okay, so we're going to take this, and like I say, this is just going to be a sweet and simple thank you note, but it's this technique that I love to do, and I wanted it to shine. I didn't want a whole bunch of other things cluttering it. And I do have some blends here. I have Copper Clay, Pebbled Path, and Old Olive. I know they're not the exact same colors in here, but if we use these just to add a gentle little bit of splatter, I don't want a lot. I just want to soften the starkness of all of this white. I'm also going to rotate this so that my splatters aren't exactly even. It just kind of, that way it's not always in the exact same direction. Okay, easy, easy. Just keeping it simple, simple. So we could have the card go this way. This is really what I was intending, was the card to go this way and that my greeting was over here, but I stamped backwards. So it's going to go up here. And so that's going to kind of come right into play there. And then we will add our thank you just kind of right in there. And if we want to bulk that up, we could add a pumpkin in here, which is actually kind of pretty, but I'd like that stem to show, just kind of right in there like that. We can also add in one of these larger leaves. And again, it's like, do I want the white side to show? That's a little bit hard to see. It gets a little, what I would say, condubulated, and that does as well. I think I'm going to keep it simple, folks, and just go with the pumpkin and the greeting and the linen thread. I'm going to shorten this up just a little bit. It's a little big for what we've got going. But here you have just a simple, streamlined, pretty note card. And I just turned my light off. There we go. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to do a little bit of Seal Plus so that I can add my, oops, I kind of wanted it down here. Oh, well. Because I want these 3 stems right here. Right now, these stems are floating in air. They have no gravity to them because they're not going anywhere. But once we add the pumpkin here and cover that, it will help to provide some gravity to the card. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Let's take dimensional here. We'll do a couple of them. Okay. And we'll add our pumpkin kind of right on there. And then the thank you could come up here, could come over in here. I'm going to add this just a little bit higher. Ooh, will it come off? Yeah. Just a skosh higher, right like that. Because I didn't want this dead center, and it was coming out dead center. And then we'll just stick that one right in there. You guys, this is a pretty simple, yet I think it's an effective, card for this season. So you could do that. I'm going to go ahead and double up my dimensional on this side. And then I'll do a single on this side since it's going to cantilever over. Okay. And we'll add this just like so. I want that stem to show. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I brought out some of these are the iridescent pastel gems that are in the annual catalog. Let's see, put a piece of white behind them so you can see them. The colors to me are perfect for this kit. So I'm just going to add a few little gems to this, and we'll do kind of this. These aren't white, they're kind of clear, but kind of, they're kind of vanilla in a way. And let's try one more. This might be too big, but let's try it and just see. Well, let's move it down to here. And I'm going to move this one. I think I'm just going to keep it right there. There you have it. Just a pretty, pretty, pretty note card, and having some fun with some good old basic stamping, just getting in and inking up and having some fun with that. Okay, that was our simple note card. Now we're going to step things up, and I'm diving into, this is a piece of the pecan pie from Glorious Gingham DSP. So there's one side, and then there's the other side. We're going to use some of this for our next card. This is going to be pretty. I'm going to start with a pecan pie base, okay? So this is simple, 8.5 by 5.5. Scored at 4 1/4, okay? Then we're going to take our pecan pie, and we're going to cut a 4 1/4 by, oh, I'm sorry, not a 4 1/4. We're going to cut 4 by 5 1/4. So just kind of your classic matte layer, okay? So, whoops, I'm going to turn this, nope, I am going to cut it this way. There's 4 by 5 1/4. So there's my first layer for right in there, like so. Then with this piece here, we're going to use this extra piece, whatever it is. So it's 2 inches wide. And this one I'm going to cut to be 5 1/2. So it's going to be 2 by 5 1/2. Okay. And while this card is stepped up with some extra DSP, it's actually going to come together really fast. Let's see, I'm going to use some elements from the kit. We're going to use that piece. Look how great that looks on this pecan pie. We'll use some pumpkins from the kit, some leaves, and one of the gold leaves, but I'm going to use them white. Don't ask me why I like it that way better, but I do. And then we'll use one of the banners. And so I'm going to stamp this banner in pecan pie. And I think you could use pebbled path, you could use mossy meadow. All of these colors would totally work. And I'm going to stamp the greeting that says grateful for you. Okay. Just like that. We'll set that aside to really dry so I don't smear it. And that's going to be about all the stamping we're going to do for this card. We're going to just layer all these pieces in a fun little arrangement. Let's start with this piece of DSP, but we've got to control this first by just burnishing this score line in. We'll use our liquid glue to add this layer. Now you could sponge these edges, you could blend them with a blending brush, you could splatter, you could do all of that, and that would be really pretty. But I'm going to keep this one fairly simple so that we can get to a couple other projects that I want to share with you. Okay, so this is just, you know, layer it up nice and easy. Oh, hey, Danny Jama is here. My Monday montage friend. Okay, this piece, I'm going to layer this off to the left side, and it's going to go from top to bottom, just like so. And I like the way these contrast, you know, the smaller gingham with the larger gingham on the diagonal. It's kind of fun here. So there's that layer. Now let's add just some dimensionals to these pieces because, you know, we're going to want some of that lift. So we've got that. Looks like we're going to have to cut these apart in a second. Use our sides. Whoops. There we go. And let's just start to lay this out. So I'm just going to do kind of a Thanksgiving grouping right down here on the bottom. We'll start with the pumpkin, and we'll put our other pumpkin in here. And we have our leaves to add. And so I think I'm just going to kind of take this, and this is just going to kind of, you know, it could work in a couple different ways. You know, it could also work this direction, and it could be really pretty. But I actually had designed it originally to go this way, so we'll go with our gut instinct, which is this way. Okay. And then we have some more leaves in here, kind of coming in. And so I just kind of play with things for a minute until I find the exact layout that I want to do. Okay, just have some fun. And sometimes you go, well, maybe that's more than what I want. And you could cut it down. You know, maybe you don't need that one. Maybe we're just going to use this. Come this way. And then just decide where you would like that grateful for you, just to kind of come into action here. You know, do I want these instead? I think both is pretty. Both are pretty, I should say. Maybe bring this in like that. Oh, yeah. I kind of like that. Now, do I need another small, or should I use some gold in here? The gold is kind of pretty. I mean, I can take the white one out. But this is what I like to do a lot of times when I'm creating, is just kind of give myself a background and then start playing with the elements. Like so. Maybe get this up and around here. Maybe come back to this one. What to do, what to do. So many choices. But the name of the game is just arrange your pieces and have some fun. Hey, Julie's here. My Stampin' Bestie. But I really do like this white side with the gingham here. So I think maybe we'll pull this and let's try one other thing in here. It's kind of coming in there. And then maybe having some accent of that white again down in here. I think that's where I'm going to land. Maybe not quite exactly like that, but let's start again. This pumpkin here is going to be my anchor point. So I'll add that with, hold on, I got to clean my scissors. Trying to get that stupid dimensional off and not get it on me. Okay. Good thing for wipes, right? Okay, so let's trim these apart. Have you guys noticed, just say yes or no in the comments, that the dimensionals that come with paper pumpkin kits are fatter than our other ones? I kind of like these thinner dimensionals. These get a little bit, as my boss, my former boss would say, volsumt, which meant voluminous. Okay. And then I'll do a few narrower ones here. Okay, that should keep me stocked for a few minutes at least in dimensionals. Okay. So I've got a couple there. Let's do it. Basically, I'm going to put everything on with a dimensional just because I love dimensionals. And I find it easier than gluing, right? And then on this one I am going to do a little bit different. It is a little bit larger. Look, I have one left here. And so because I am doing this I'm going to have the white side show, I am going to glue a few of these down with some minis here. Okay. I have some new scissors on order. These are getting so dull. It's time to replace them. And then we'll do one more right there. That's going to hide. So there's that. And that's done. Okay, we just need to do this one. And this one's smaller. I think I can just do it at the bottom. Yes, you've noticed that they're thicker. Do you like the thicker ones or do you like the thinner ones? This thickness or paper pumpkin thickness? You see the difference? I like our usual thickness. Okay, so I'm going to start with this pumpkin. This is going to anchor my elements. So if I were actually doing this, like say on a table with actual pumpkins, I would start with my big pumpkins first. I would lay them in place and then start adding the other elements around it. Yeah, sometimes the thicker ones do come in handy. But sometimes they're just too big. There's that. Oh. The dogs are going crazy. You hear Brian out there? Oh. He's my special dog. Special. And I don't mean that. It just, yes, he was diagnosed special. He has a few learning disabilities. Okay. This is going in here. Well, let me just lift this one up for a second so I can really get in there with this. Okay. And then we'll lay this one inside there or on top. Oops, I've got colliding dimensionals. Smash it. Sorry. Okay. And then this one, and then we'll put our greeting. We'll tuck this one way in there. And then we'll add our greeting right into here. This one's, I feel like, is hanging out just a little bit. So I think I'm going to try and move it up just a little bit more. I feel like it's not a part of the group. There we go. That's better. Just moving it a little higher in there. And then we'll add our greeting right across. But I'm going to move this guy up just a little bit. Okay. Now it's where I want, and then I can add that in there. And of course, I'm going to add in because I can, and I love it. And that is a little linen thread, just like we did on that other one. And so I'm going to layer this right under the greeting, just for a little added texture. Okay. And I might have to do that with a glue dot. And so if I switch my take your pick tool, you know, I have a whole bunch of handles. I don't know why I don't always have them all out with me. But I'm going to add a glue dot right in there so that I can hold that linen thread in place. Let me move that out of the way. Okay, so this one we are almost finished with. Okay, and I'm not pushing this down tight just yet because I want to be able to kind of maneuver it a little bit. And I can see I want to switch the angle on it. So I'm going to reverse the angle. My friend that I used to decorate Christmas trees with would always say, it's the angle of the dangle. Oh, fun times. Okay, there we have it. Now we'll add this one here, just like so. Yep, nope, I didn't peel all my dimensional backings. I'm like, why isn't it sticking? You wish you had this, yeah, this glorious gingham. It is a really pretty DSP, Kathleen. Okay, and I'm going to switch the angle of my linen thread here just a little bit, and I'm going to shorten that side. Cool, pretty, pretty, pretty. Just using some of the elements from the kit, and then we can come in here and add some gems. I think this is going to be pretty. This blue is kind of pretty as well. So let's just kind of see where we're going to put them. I think I'm going to do one kind of right down in here, and let's try the blue. It doesn't really read as super, super dark blue. And then maybe we'll do one up in here. We'll kind of hide that one just a little bit since it's so big. And then we'll put another one right there. So that was a small. So now these are kind of working, 1, 2, and then I have one a little further away. And then this would be really pretty to come in here with your Wink of Stella and just shine up these pumpkins. And then maybe even these leaves right here. And then you can, of course, give it an all over flick and shimmer. And there you have it. Just a little something different, creating kind of a spray of elements, but, you know, pulling in some DSP that we have in the catalog here. So that's that one. And while we're talking about catalog items, here's another card. You may have seen this. I posted this a while back, but this is using the dots and spots. Is that the name of the... the background die? I can't remember, but it's just on a card base of Pebble Path and then using some of the elements from the kit and even those nice, fun, iridescent pastel gems. And then look, I pulled out an oldie but goodie, and that is, I love a good doily. So there was that card as well. I want to switch gears and share with you how I've put together these cool treat bags. And I found an interesting way to fold these that gives everything kind of a nice clean look. And so here's how we're going to do it. So you've got the box comes like so, right? And then I'm just going to kind of find the side score lines here. Wow, this one doesn't even, there it is. I can barely find it. So find that side so that you can at least create and have that opposite direction, right? So now you have the 4 sides. And if you'll notice on the sides here, hopefully you can see that, there's a score. There's like it's like an upside down Y. And so it's like, how do you get that in there cleanly? And I'm gonna show you how to do it. So what I want you to do is push your sides in. This is what I found was the best way to do this. So push the sides in. So now the inside has a nice crisp fold, but how do you get that one? And this is how you're going to do it. You're going to take this and you're going to kind of fold. You're going to bring this and see how I'm kind of pushing. I'm kind of coaxing it, but you're going to bring it out and you're going to flatten it just like that. And it'll go into place. You just have to kind of guide it a little bit. But that's how you can get that nice, crisp, clean fold on the inside there, okay? So let's do it one more time. All you're gonna do is take this bottom tab and kind of coax it outward. Okay, so I'm coaxing it outward while I'm holding this one. And as it all of a sudden goes that way, you can just kind of push it the rest of the way. And now it's like it has these two funny little wings out on it. But that's how I was able to get nice, crisp folds in that down there. Okay, and then you can kind of reverse that for your tabs and your tabs right there. Okay, and then same thing, these are going to go and fold inward. And same thing here on this one, just like so. And then as this is shut, then this one has a nice crisp fold. Jacqueline, great minds think alike. She says, that's exactly how I did it. Yeah, Stampin' Up! Didn't really show us doing that. So doing these boxes to fold correctly isn't working well for me. Kayleen, did you just see how I did it? I'll do it again because I have one more box to make after this. Okay, so that's how I did that. And then, let me see if I can find that piece of paper. I actually, on all of my boxes that I sent in to Stampin' Up, because that was a hanging garland, if you remember. Of course I can't find the piece of paper that I need. I actually added a piece of cardstock to the inside bottom of my box so that if it were filled and hanging, it had a little bit more support in the bottom. And so all I did is I just had a rectangle piece cut in there that I had inside before I folded all the tabs up. So that was one tip, okay? So for this, but before we glue it up, I actually want to take my cardstock here and I'm going to just kind of put this, let me lay it flat. I'm gonna put this down on my piece of white there, right there in the corner. I'm gonna take a pencil and I'm going to trace this. So just trace the flap. And then there's the one side. Now take your scissors and we're going to cut on the inside of that line. And we're going to create a liner because I'm going to add some tissue to my flap here. I'm going to add like a tissue fringe, but I don't want my mechanics to show. Okay, so there's that. And we're going to take our Seal Plus, or you could use Terran tape. And of course, I don't have any Terran tape here with me. But I'm going to run my Seal Plus on the edge. Okay, I didn't get very close to the edge, but thereabouts. Okay, and then just any excess, just kind of fold it inward. It will be fine. So we have that prepped. We have that prepped. Okay, now what I want you to do, and I've done this ahead of time, and that is to take a piece of tissue from so I just cut like a 2-inch piece of tissue, okay, and we're going to fold it in half, and then we're going to fold it in half again, like so. And this is just so that we can work in double time, you know, and then we're going to fold it in half lengthwise. And I wish I had brought my fringe scissors out. Do you remember when Stampin' Up! Sold fringe scissors? They were like a multi-bladed scissor. That was the best thing to use. But if you don't have fringe scissors, all you're going to do is just snip little slices up like every 1/8 of an inch. And I'm not cutting all the way through. You can see I'm kind of stopping about 3/4 of the way. And like I say, those fringe scissors were great because it would do all of that in one cut. And of course I didn't bring them. They're in the stamp room with my blending brushes. It's fun to be able to create on the fly and go, okay, well, how can I do it since I'm missing the tool that I need? Yes, Kayleen, I bet. Okay, so I'm just kind of coming all the way down this. I love garlands. And so it's fun to kind of make a garland and go, okay, that was fun. And I can see I'm a little uneven, so I'm just going to snip that all the way off. Okay, so now that I have my tissue paper here, you can kind of open it up. And the reason I'm going to open it all up is so that I can layer it up again, but I didn't want the layers exactly the layers that they were. I kind of want them to be mixed. You know, it'll add more thickness if you're kind of offset. So that's why we're kind of changing the direction. And so I just want to make sure that I'm not exactly even. And so we'll just take this and we're going to fold it in half. And this is where it gets a little bit messy here because tissue. I'm going to do just a quick, thin bead of glue. Not too thin. And if it rips, don't worry. Don't worry. You can put it back together and you won't even tell that there's rips in it. Okay, but this is more glue than what I want. And you're going to take your other side here and glue this on. Okay, just kind of pat it in place. And this is where you'll want wipes on hand because the glue will come through. Okay. And then we'll do just a tiny bit on this other side here. We just kind of need to hold these together, but not like a brick house, you know, just kind of tack it down in a few places. Okay, like so. And then we'll do it one last time. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. Oh, that's much better, easier. So it's just enough to hold it. And then fold it in half one last time. And if it gets bunchy and funky, that makes it actually fluffier and better. So don't worry if it's not exactly going. But you're just making fringe. And it's a little messy, but it's kind of fun. And we'll let that dry for just a second while we talk a little bit more about, I kind of want that to dry so that I can play with it a little bit and not be super sticky. So I'm going to use the word grateful for this box. And this came from, and I cut mine in half here. This was the sheet. You get 2 of these sheets in the journals. And hopefully some of you were able to get a journal for yourself. I bought a whole stack of them. I'm using them as Thanksgiving and Christmas gifts, because I think what a beautiful journal it is. And that's why not buy from my own store. And it was a great price point. So you can see I used the thankful and the hopeful and some of the other tags here. But what I did is, let's just say, let's take this piece here, pretend this is the word grateful, but this is all sticky, right? And we don't want it to be sticky because we definitely want to add some dimension to this. So you're going to take your embossing buddy and you're going to pounce that on your sticker here, okay, just to remove all of the stickiness, okay? Use your little rosin pouch there. And then I'm going to sweep all of this away. And now I can add, this is not sticky whatsoever. If you don't have an embossing buddy, you could use baby powder. You could also use a paintbrush and cornstarch, works really, really well. But now, once I have that, I can come in with my dimensionals and add some dimension to this, okay? And I'm not going to have, you know, it's not going to be, where's one of those narrow ones? Right in here. It's going to give me some lift without accidentally sticking down where I don't, you know, like all of a sudden it gets stuck down there. You can see it's not going to because we've removed that sticky. So that's exactly what I did to this. Look at all of those dimensionals. That's a bit insane. But I didn't want it to sag because this is a lighter weight, you know, it's not cardstock weight, it's sticker weight. So you have to use a few more, but look how cool that is. That's how I did that. And good tip on wanting to do something like that. Okay, so now we're going to take our fringe here. And you have enough for 2. This will be more than enough for a couple boxes. I still have Embossing Buddy stuff, and I don't like it. So I'm just going to add my fringe right here onto my box. And I'm not doing it flat. I'm going to gather it just a little bit here and there. Not a lot, just a little. And then check it on that side, see if it looks okay. Kind of come around that point. A few little pleats here and there just to add a little bit of volume. Okay, just like that. And then we can clip this off. And like I say, you have plenty here for another box. Just find the right spot. My scissors are really dull. Okay, kind of see how that's kind of funky. Just kind of fold it over and then just kind of flick your fringe a little bit just to fluff it. Cute. But what's not cute is this inside edge. And that's why we traced our flap there so that we can put this one on and cover up all of our mechanics. And at the same time, that's going to make this just a little bit more, it's going to give us a little bit more durability for the next step that I'm going to show you. Because, in fact, I saw it today. How's everybody closing their boxes? I'm like, you guys, use a dimensional. That's one way. But here's another way I'm going to share with you. And that is going to be, not that I like to go to other stores. Well, I do like to go to other stores, but I do like to buy from Stampin' Up, from my own Stampin' Up store. But these fastener dots, aka Velcro dots or hook and loop dots, these are from the Dollar Tree. So for $1.25, you get 20 pair. And so you just need 1 pair. So I'm going to do a hook or a loop side on there. Okay, we'll just press that nice and flat. And while this is flat, we'll just kind of do our little box here. We're going to put the other side, don't put it on here. You're going to lightly put it onto the hook side or the loop side. Okay, and now you're going to shut your box. Okay, and then you might have to put a finger in there to hold that because these are really sticky. And look, I got my fringe stuck in there. Can't have that. And so there you have it. Those are the ones that I used earlier. And that's just a nice way of closing it. I'm going to show you another option on another box in just a second here. But let's quickly finish this. Let's fold our tabs inward. Okay. And now if this is the front of the box, this is the last tab to go. And let me tell you why. If this was going to be the third tab, then you're going to have a raw edge showing on the front. So push that one in last. And so we'll just do a little glue right here. And this is where I do like to have that layer in there to make my box a little sturdier, especially if you're going to make a garland out of it and suspend it. So there's that. We'll let that dry up for just a second. And now let's just do a quick bit of decor on this. I will say it's easier to decorate these when they're not in a full box position. It's easier to decorate them when they're flat. But I am going to use the word grateful that we have 1 billion dimensionals on. And I'm going to use a pumpkin and some leaves. We're just going to keep it real simple here using elements from the kit. But I did want to show my my few steps there, and that was how I made the fringe, how I covered the mechanics of the fringe, how I folded the box, and how I took the sticky out of all of these stickers. Okay, just kind of flicking all of these off. Okay, we'll add a dimensional to our pumpkin here for sure, right? And I'm going to use the leaves as well. We'll put these on with a couple. And I am just gonna keep this real simple here. And the leaves and the pumpkin will be my background for the word grateful. So we're just gonna do a little something like that, right? And now this is going to come across right in here and really be the star of the show. Cool. So there's that. And then I did tuck a little bit of leaf action in here. I think I'm going to grab a small leaf. So I had a little bit of gold kind of coming out of this design on this one side, just to pick this up, just like that. So we'll do a little dimensional on that as well. I think I'm going to do a mini, just so that I can get it in there easy. And we'll tuck this in here. And of course, if you saw my garland, I strung them all together with ribbon. And I'm going to show you how I put the ribbon through on a next project here. But so I could easily decorate more boxes and string them together to make that garland again. The one thing you could do is string it together unfilled and then fill it that night. But the whole point was to have it ready, hang it up as a garland for some decor during the season, and then come Thanksgiving dinner, just quickly pull them off of the ribbon, just pull the ribbon right out, and then set these at your place settings. So you could also even add like a name tag in here, and they could be for somebody. My fringe got a little bit funky. But anyhow, that's how I did the fringe on my pieces there. I want to show you another one. I'm going to use that I have another piece of that pecan pie, so we're going to decorate one. Let's see, let's grab another box here. Grab a box, and we're going to, so this is going to kind of layer on there, but what I want to do with this one is I want to add a ribbon through it, and instead of like the hook and loop fastener that I was just showing you, I'm going to, it's not a hook and loop, what is it? It is a loop, and I can't remember, but anyhow, I'm going to show you a ribbon fastener that's pretty simple. So let's just kind of train our box here, right? And this time, I'm going to actually fold this outward, and I'm going to fold this side outward. I'm not going to yeah, we can kind of push it down just to make things easier. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a ruler here, and I'm going to measure down. I can't remember, what did I do? What was my measurement? Let me find out here. I think it's 1 1/4. It's 1 1/2. So from this edge here where your flap is, we're going to take our ruler here and a pencil, and we're going to measure down 1 1/2. And I'm just going to put a little bit of a tick mark right there. And then we'll do the same thing on this side, 1 1/2. A little tick mark right on that fold. Now this fold is eventually going to fold inward, but for right now, we have it outward so that we can take a handheld hole punch, and we're going to take a bite right out of, let's see if I can get my thingy going the right direction here. This goes this way. I'm going to take just a little bit of a bite right on that. So I'm making just a tiny little hole there, and we'll do one right here as well. Just take a little bite right out of that. And then I'm going to get some of this awesome ribbon. You guys, this is the gold and silver 1/8 inch trim combo pack. This is part of the online exclusives. Such cool ribbon. I like this. It's a nice thin weight. And I'm going to make sure my ribbon has a nice sharp angle on it. And I'm going to feed it through this first hole right here and carry it through. Okay. And then just kind of have to reach inside there, and it's going to come out the other hole just like that. Okay. And now we can kind of continue on with things. And let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and give myself a decent amount here. Just trim that off. I'd say I probably have about 20 inches here because I like a decent bow. I don't like little short stumpy bows. That's just my preference. Okay, so decent size there. Now let's go back and just pretend the ribbon isn't there, and let's go back and, Kayleen, this is for you. What size hole punch? You know what? This is just a handheld hole punch that usually punches, I think it's a 1/4 inch. It's a bigger one, but I just kind of, I don't know, can you see it there? I just took a little bite. You don't need I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a big hole or a little, I just don't think you want a really big hole because it's going to be a little too much. Okay, Kayleen, let's do this again. Let's fold this. What I want you to do is we're going to push this one inward, the one that we had outward. We're going to push both of these back in. Okay, and we're just going to flatten this up. Give that a good burnish. Now, I'm going to hold my fingers on the outside here of this one, but I'm going to use my index finger is where the Y is, and I'm just kind of pushing it out. See how it's just kind of going? And I'm going to push it all the way out until it kind of makes this wing. It happens magically. If you coax it a little, it'll go right on its own. One more time on this side. I'm going to kind of push this out a little bit. Get a little coaxing action. You might have to put your fingernail in there to guide it. But then once it's going, because that score line is there, just finish and then fold them in and reverse it. Then everything goes inward. And that's how you'll get nice, crisp, clean folds on that. Now I'm doing all of these. I'm not going to glue this and try and design like I did last time because that's a pain in the rear end. We're going to open this flat again. So we'll squish this flat. Here's our piece of DSP. This piece of DSP is 3 and I think it's 3 1/4. Yes, it's 3 1/4 by 4 7/8. Okay, and it's just big enough to sit on the inside front of this panel here. Okay. 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 And so we'll just line this one up centered. And you know what? Again, you could kind of stamp this and make it all fancy and pretty, depending on how much time you want to spend on them. But I'm folding this just to see where my line is to make sure I've got a nice border on the bottom there. Okay, and so this one I'm going to decorate. We're going to keep this one pretty easy. We'll decorate with a leaf. And I think what I want is kind of a slightly different look here. And that is, we'll take one of our banners here and we'll stamp this one. I'm going to stamp this one with Grateful for You. No, we're going to stamp it with Love and Gratitude. Because you can mix and match all of these when you put them all together, if you're going to string them in a garland. But I think I am going to use Pebbled Path, kind of mixing in that Pebbled Path with the pecan pie. And we'll stamp this right there with Love and Gratitude, just like that. Oops. I got that one a little smudgy. I'm going to do another one because I've got a bazillion of these. All right. See, I pressed too hard. I inked up too much and I pressed too hard. That's just what I don't like. I'll hold it up to the camera in just a second here. Let's see if I can do this one better. Yes. Okay. So this one's better. I mean, just see how I got, like, I'm okay over here, but right in here, it just got too smudgy. So we don't want smudgy. Put dimensionals on this, of course. We have to. This is a rather big dimensional for this little thing, but that's what's cut right now, so that's what we're going to go with. I wouldn't normally put that big of one on. But I do want this one. This one is going to eventually kind of come off over here on this side, but I don't want to do it just yet because I need to shut the box. And let's see, I think I want, and I'm going to try this, I'm not exactly sure, one of the designed one of these right in here. We'll see, might do a combination, but we're still going to kind of hold things flat. Here's what we're going to do is we're going to bring our flap over. Let me just kind of slide these off for a second. So bring our flap over. How are we going to hold this one on? Okay. So that's over. But for right now, I'm just going to take my ribbon here, even it up, and we're going to tie it in a bow. And the magic is being about 1.5 inches down, because that's going to be low enough that you can take the flap of your box here and tuck it under your ribbon. Okay? And so your ribbon becomes what's going to hold your box shut. Now, I can see I need to tie a little tighter, but it's kind of hard. I need I need a friend nearby. But just tie your bow. Okay. And then you'll be able to see how I've got a flip in my ribbon there. But now you can see how that holds it shut, but it's enough that you can easily flip it out. So to me, that's a cool, simple fold. We'll decorate this. And I'm going to decorate this. And I might just stick this one underneath. I don't know just yet. And then bring this one right on top. And I was planning this one down here. It could also come up in here. I kind of like that. You know, it just depends on what you want to do. Or you can bring this one up here with it. It's just kind of fun to decorate these. And to let each be what my mom calls a happening. So I'm going to put this one down below. I might add another banner. I don't know. We'll put this one down here towards the bottom. When I did create the garland, I just made sure that I didn't have them all the same and that these would be at different levels. If you go back and look at those pictures, I'll post those pictures now that this class is over, the ones that I have taken. But I have them at different levels so that I don't have banners going all the way across these little banners, that banner that I made. So hopefully you guys know what I'm referring to the alternatives that were made for Stampin' Up's Paper Pumpkin Alternatives video. So there's that. Let's see here. How am I going to do this? Maybe I am going to do one underneath, like so. And then maybe this one at a little bit of an angle. And just kind of keep it classic and simple. Just like that. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch. Maybe, just maybe, you go, okay, well, maybe I need to add a pumpkin. I can add a pumpkin right in there. That's kind of a nice finishing touch. Or let's see, I have a small one as well. Maybe just a small pumpkin here, kind of off to the side. Have some fun. Fix it up however you like. I may not necessarily put that one together just for time's sake, but then you would come in and reverse your and go ahead and finish your bottom here. Okay, just flip those tabs in and down. And there you have another one. So I haven't decided what I want to do with this, but you get the right idea. It's kind of fun. But there's another fold, not a fold, but another way of closing that. Now, I might have my bow actually tied too tight right now. So by the time you make this dimensional, you may have to loosen that bow, but that's easy enough to do. But hopefully that gives you some ideas of things you can do with your boxes here, and hopefully that's giving you a help on how to fold these. So there we have it, folks. We have some fringe, and we have a Velcro closer, we have a ribbon closer, and we have a couple cards here that we've made. So I shared that one with you, and here's this pretty one. Then we have our our fun note card here, and of course the cool the fold up that is just with elements from the kit. And then we even went back in time and I shared with you how I made my, my Meaningful Flowers card here that we did earlier at the very, very beginning. So, I will get some photos posted soon. I'm glad you were here. Again, if you didn't hear at the very beginning, there is still room if you would like to attend my Paper Florist Camp. I have PDF versions that will get you into all 4 classes and all of the stamp presentations, all of the fun. Anyhow, that will be available if you need that. Just shoot me a message. Kayleen says, when would you put the extra white piece in the bottom? Before I fill it. So, or before I glue the bottom shut. If you're going to fill from the top, which most people would, then you would do it at this point when you're gluing this. I would sit it inside here and then glue it so it just has that reinforced bottom. That's especially if you're going to put really good treats in it. By the way, I think Werther's caramels and things would be, and the green apple ones and a whole mixture of those would be really nice in these because I think the color of the wrapper would just really play off of it. Okay, so enough of that. I will catch you guys. Look at this mess that I've left you in and myself in. But thanks for being here. I will be back next month for another Upstyle class. Don't forget, there's a class every Thursday. Shoot a message to me if you'd like to know how to get in to the Backstage Pass. I'll help you with that. Have a good weekend, and I will see you guys soon. Bye-bye. You're welcome, Kayleen.